Today we are going to be testing a tactic submitted by subscriber Nikola. And I like this one, and definitely worth trying out in a save or two, I think. Let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to FM with Old Man Phil, and if you are a brand new visitor, I'm Phil and welcome to the channel. And today we are going to be continuing on with the Testing Your Tactics series, and this is number 3 in the series. We do still currently have Andy on top with a total of 74 out of 100 for his tactic, and today we're going to be looking at a tactic submitted by subscriber Nikola, and this is a tactic that I really like, and it's done extremely well in all 3 of the tests. So I'm really looking forward to having a look at this one. If you are watching and you believe you have a tactic worthy of winning the Best Tactic of the Year title, then submit it to me. You'll find an email address on the channel page in the description section. And just email me your tactic, tell me who you are, where you're from, and we'll feature it in one of the episodes that will be coming up very shortly. But for now, we're going to focus on this brand new one. Submitted by Nikola, I would call this a 3-4-3. And it's a very simple, very effective attacking system. And it does seem that when we've tested these tactics so far, attacking systems seem to work the best. And this tactic was no different. As you can see in the tactic, he has a sweeper keeper on support. Sweeper keeper has no additional instructions. And then on the right of the 3 at the back, there's a wide centre-back on support. He just has the instruction, shoot less often. And in the middle, a ball-playing defender on cover who's told to tackle harder. On the left of the 3, there is a wide centre-back on attack with an instruction to shoot less often. So even looking at those 3 at the back, you can see this is a very attacking system. On the right of the 4, we have a wing-back on attack, and he has additional instructions to cross-aim for the far post. Then we have next to him a volante, segunda volante. On support, he is told to take more risks and tackle harder. And then a roaming playmaker next to him who's just told to tackle harder. On the left-hand side is a complete wing-back on attack, and he has no additional instructions. And then up front, we have a wide advanced playmaker on the right on attack. He's told to cross aim far post and sit narrower. And then up top we have a pressing forward on attack with no additional instructions, and next to him a complete forward on support with no additional instructions. As you can see from the roles, it is a very, very attacking system, and so therefore the mentality is set to attacking. In possession, it's set to fairly wide, and we have play out of defence. Passing directness is shorter with the tempo as standard, and then mixed crosses with work the ball into the box, run at the defence, and be more expressive. It is very attacking. It's very, very, very good tactic. And then in transition, we're going to have counter press and counter, distribute quickly, distribute to the centre backs, and take shorter kicks. And then out of possession, it's going to have a much higher defensive line with a high press, trigger press more often, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, step up more. And this, I was very, very surprised to get the results that we got from this tactic. And it did very, very well. So first off, let's go and take a look at how we got on with Manchester City. And looking at Manchester City's competitions, you can see they won the league. They had 88 points from their 38 games. In the Champions League, they were knocked out in the semi-final by Bayern Munich. And then in the UEFA Super Cup, they won that one quite easily against Seville. In the FA Cup, they were knocked out in the 4th round by Manchester United in the derby there. But they did win the Carabao Cup, and they were runners-up to Arsenal in the Community Shield. It was a very, very successful season, and if we have a look at the table, you can see that their goal difference was 64. They scored 105 goals and conceded 41 goals. It's very, very attacking, and we did see a lot of goals scored from them. In terms of the stats, the team overview, yes, they were top with 105 goals. Goals conceded, though they were only in 4th, 41 goals conceded. Not bad considering how attacking it was. And then in terms of possession, they didn't do well in terms of possession. They only came 5th, which would be a surprise for Manchester City, but it didn't really matter. They were scoring goals all over the park. And the top goal scorer for Manchester City was, of course, Erling Haaland. He scored 38 goals in 33 appearances. He was outstanding. Of course he would be. He was injured for 5 games, but it didn't seem to affect him. He still scored a lot of goals throughout the season in all competitions. And so it was a very successful season for Manchester City, scoring a total of 89 points. And moving on to Wolves, if we take a look at their competitions page, you can see that they finished in 9th. They got 55 points from their 38 games. They won 17, lost 17, and drew 4. It was a very good performance, a mid-table performance, and surprising performance, really, given that they should be a mid-table team. But this was a very attacking system, and defensively, I think they coped very, very well for it. In the Emirates FA Cup, they were knocked out in the 4th round by Liverpool, and then obviously having some tough draws in the Cups, they were knocked out in the semi-final by Manchester City in the Carabao Cup. A good performance to get to the semi-final. If we have a look at the league and we have a look at their goals scored, you can see that they scored 71 goals and conceded 70 goals. So defensively they were a bit frail, but they did okay, and they had a positive goal difference at the end of the day. Finishing in 9th was an exceptional performance. Looking at the stats, we can see that the most goals, they came in joint 6th with 71 goals. That was a very good performance, and in terms of goals conceded, we're going to have to look further down here. They were joint 14th, conceding 70 goals. It still represents a pretty good performance by this Wolves team. And in terms of possession, we can see that they came in 8th. They had 54% as compared to the top, Manchester City, with 61%. So I would say that was a very, very good all-round performance yet again. And the top scorer for Wolves was Sasha Kalajic. He scored 16 goals in his 34 appearances. It was a pretty good performance by him, but I think the goals seemed to be spread out a little bit more throughout the Wolves team than we saw for Manchester City. But overall, this was an extremely good performance by Wolves. They were expected to finish mid-table. I think they've just about edged that a little bit. And so the tactic has performed extremely well for the mid-table team, and it's been quite an impressive performance by them. Wolves scored a total of 61 points. And now let's move on to the last team that we tested this with, Luton. And Luton also had an extremely good season, and Luton performed the best of any of the Luton tests that we've done so far. And given that this is such an attacking system, it's really difficult to work out why Luton did so well. They, like Wolves, finished 9th in the Premier League. They were just expected to avoid relegation, but they put on a magnificent performance all season, and they, in the end, got 53 points from their 38 games, winning 15 times and drawing 8 times. A fabulous performance, and this tactic has worked extremely well. I do know that Nikola was very nervous. He had never tested it, as he said in his email, with poorer teams, and so it's done extremely well, and this makes this tactic well worth trying out. And if you do want to try out the tactic, you will find a download link in the description below, so feel free to download it and try it out in one of your own saves. In the Emirates Cup, they were knocked out in the 4th round by Arsenal, but the big shock came in the Carabao Cup, where they were knocked out in the 2nd round by Bristol City, and at that point it didn't seem that they were going to have a very good season, but they did turn this around. Looking at what happened in the schedule, it's not that impressive if you actually take a look at it, but they did get off to a fairly good start early in the season, in the first half of the season and through December. They won a lot of fixtures then, and then some draws in January and a victory set them up for the end of the season. There were a lot of defeats towards the end of the season, but they'd done what they needed to do at that point, and so it was a particularly impressive season for them. And in terms of the Premier League and the league itself, Luton came in 9th. They scored 57 goals and conceded 62. This is what you would expect from a team who are pretty much going to struggle to score goals in the Premier League, but they did concede fewer than Wolves conceded. And in terms of the team stats, you can see the most goals, they came in 8th, which was a very good performance with their 57 goals. And in goals conceded, we're going to have to look further down the table for that. They were were 12th. Again, I think that is a very good performance for this team. In terms of their possession, they finished, again, we're going to have to look further down the table. They finished in 10th, and that, again, is pretty good. It's a very, very good result for this very lowly Luton team, and I'm very impressed by what this tactic had to offer. In terms of the top scorer, again, we're going to have to look further down, and we're going to have to go down as far as 17th, 16th to Jacob Brown and Adebayo. Both of them got 11 goals for the season, and so not one person dominating things, but not a bad performance overall. And so the total points scored for this tactic for Luton, and when we combine all those scores and take the average total here was 68 points. That is a good score. Andy is still on top with 74, but Andy is still only on top by virtue of the fact that he did win a Carabao Cup with one of the lower teams. And I would say that this probably as a tactic is on an equal footing with Andy. It is a very, very attacking system, as was Andy's, and that's what I think makes them very similar in the approach that they take towards the game. It's very attacking, it's very entertaining football, and so I would say this is a tactic well worth trying out in one of your saves. And that's it for this video. If you are brand new to the channel and you like FM content and you love to see people suffer playing the game, I can tell you, you're definitely in the right place. So why not hit that subscribe button and click that bell? And while you're there, leave us a like, because likes and comments help the YouTube algorithm to push the video out to people who've not yet had a chance to see videos from the channel. And don't forget to submit your tactic. If you think you've got a tactic that could win the Best Tactic of the Year title, submit your tactic. We'll test it, and we'll share the results with everybody out there. And all that remains to be said now is take care, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one.